So I think the epitome for all of this premise really is the now infamous NATO exercise, which was recently conducted, where the Ukraine managed with their drone warfare unit to essentially neutralize two what we would class as conventional NATO battalions, one which was from the UK. That doesn't necessarily mean that all hard power is over, but it does indicate a shift in warfare. Drones themselves, and we're not talking about the Reaper drones or the Predator drones that have become so perfusive in our thoughts from movies and the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, but we're talking about the dual-use technologies, or COTS, commercial off-the-shelf, which are drones like DJI drones, which we may use to take photos of our backyard when we're enjoying time with our families. That's what we're talking about. They've been repurposed and with less manpower have been able to neutralize hundreds of millions worth of Cold War assets, and essentially just shown that strategy has evolved. And now in warfare, strategy has always evolved. One of the aspects that many would say is that technology has always been at the forefront of warfare. That's very true. It's been the case from ancient Chinese time, from the start of the gunpowder, to the Romans, to the fall of Constantinople with the mega cannon. But the difference is that they were vertical stovepipe technologies which were implemented within your standard strategy. What we're seeing now is the utilization of technology to really alter the balance of power. And that's really something in the book you'll probably see in the Israeli chapter, especially when we talk about the frugal innovation and then disruptive innovation journey which Israel went upon. And that's why there's a premise of bytes are more important than bullets, and certainly it's the case now if you look at the technology stack as well. So what's become obvious at the moment on the battlefield is what gives you the edge on the modern battlefield is what's defined as a multi-domain operations. That is being able to coordinate different assets from different countries on different technology stacks to give you the maximum visibility, and therefore being able to target more precisely with less wastage and more efficiently. That gives you an incredible advantage because it means you can store less ammunition, you can expend less resources on hard assets like tanks. They cost 20, 30, 50 million per asset. You can destroy one with a $200 drone. And all of this has to operate on the cloud. And who does the cloud infrastructure belong to? Now perhaps moving into a little bit more of the standard geopolitical speak. Well, it's not Europe, unfortunately, or the rest of the world. It's mainly the US with your Amazon cloud services, your Google cloud services, all of the Oracle cloud services, all of the main participants. And then, of course, China's moving with the Alibaba cloud and other companies. So the infrastructure belongs to them. If the infrastructure belongs to you, anything that's below that is subordinate to it. And that's one of the friction points which we see nowadays with the European defense is finding itself because, one, we don't have the hard power that the United States have because we've depended on the United States for certainly the last 80 years under the US global policing strategy. Now, of course, they've reverted, it seems, to a Monroe or Dunroe doctrine. Yeah. And secondly, we haven't invested in technology. We've been left behind. And one of the reasons I argue we've been left behind is because we don't have the innovation ecosystem. We don't have an innovation strategy to be able to participate. And that's one of the reasons why Silicon Valley is Silicon Valley. I'll go into very detailed explanation to why it's so unique. Even in the United States itself, they couldn't replicate it on the opposite coast, which is quite interesting. And not having that and having quite a confused set of directives, policies, a European Union which is not a federation. You still have national sovereignty, which may take over or take prevalence over the European Union itself. If we look at investments, there's no clear form of investments. There are many, but the bureaucracy is all different. It's difficult, basically. So that's the whole premise that the whole book is based upon.